Good morning, everybody. So, just getting ready here. We didn't have a lot of comic relief during the day yesterday. It was pretty serious. So I thought I'd start off with just a little story about Ole and Lena. And, you know, Ole really loved his Lena, but he got up one morning and went in and she had drawn her last breath during the night. His Lena was gone. And, of course, Ole was, he was very sad. And he waited until 8 in the morning and was able to call the funeral director and said that, Mr. Funeral Director, man, my Lena is gone. And, could you please come and pick her up and we'll get ready to make arrangements for her. And he said, well, Ole, what's your address? Where do I need to come? And he said, well, I live at 437 Eucalyptus Drive. And the funeral director said, well, could you spell that for me, Ole? And he said, well, how about I drag her over to the corner of Oak Street? So, anyway, I've actually got two reports. I'm going to give an affiliate update quickly, and we'll start out with that. So we should have one slide that really is just the listing of all of our affiliates around the country. And we had a meeting Friday afternoon, and many of you were there, and each affiliate, a representative got to give a little bit of talk about what they're all doing. And the key thing is these are awesome organizations. It is not an easy thing to be active, and a lot of these people are active with RCAF as well, and so it ends up being pretty busy. And we know that in Iowa. We've got a couple friends here. We started a new affiliate in Iowa this last year, the Iowa Stock Growers Association, and it reminded me again of the work that it takes. And so, to be able to make a difference in your local communities, counties, and in states. And so, as you run into people today, and if you find out that they're also involved with one of these affiliates, please thank them. And I know RCAF is very grateful. Karina Jones, our field director, is available for any of you that think that maybe you'd like to try to start an affiliate up in your area. We'll provide some advice and counsel on, helping that get set up so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. But our affiliates are really important to RCAF, and let's give them all a big round of applause right now. All right, on to the marketing committee. And so I've got a few slides that I want to go through, but obviously RCAF is continuously lobbying for change, having to do with cattle markets, for competition. And I think you're all aware, we'd sure like to have the Packers and Stockyards Act enforced. We'd like there to be a fixed price on any of these arrangements that the Packers make, these moving average thingies that don't have any hard price up front. That needs to be changed, and among other things. And the problem is that we are the only cattle group that really wants to fix the cattle markets. There are those that want to maybe be seen that they're doing something, but in the end, it's us leading the charge out there for really trying to fix what's going on. And so complacency is the big risk that I'm afraid that we're facing potentially in our fight to fix markets. And so for all the ranchers in the room, the price of feeder cattle is much better now than it's been in a number of years. And in that can come complacency, that we've got some pretty good prices, but I think that we need to be careful. All right, so this data is just from last week, just to give you an idea of where we're at. So last week, up in my area in Iowa, Minnesota, we traded 60% of the cattle that were slaughtered out of that region. 60% were cash negotiated. But you need some perspective on that. If I would have put up and I was kind of in a hurry, and I should have, but I still remember the data. If I'd have went to a month ago or 2 months ago or 3 months ago, it was 80 to 85% of the cattle in Iowa, Minnesota were cash negotiated. Texas, Oklahoma, 2 months ago, Texas, Oklahoma was actually trading like 18% cash negotiated, and now they're down to 10. Kansas has dropped. All these areas have fallen back precipitously, and what that really means is the packers have managed to get more captive supply lined up, and so they don't have to bid as aggressively. But the big take-home message is off to the right there. You look at the average price for a steer in Iowa, Minnesota last week was $188.20, and the average price in the Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico area was only $179.99 or $180. So that's about, depending on weight, almost $120 a head difference. But look at the cash negotiated level, right? So where the cattle are getting negotiated, they're still setting a higher price. So it's been that way for a long, long time, that where the cattle are negotiated, they'll bring a higher price, which kind of flies in the face of, we're told by the industry that all of the captive supply cattle in these formula deals, those are all about quality, that only quality drives those. Well, I don't think that they're selling higher quality cattle for $10 a hundred less. So that kind of flies right in the face of that. And here's another interesting story. And John Baker, a friend from Iowa, is here in the room, and he actually gave me these details. And so he recently took a 1,446-pound steer to his local locker, and he paid $1.96, which was probably almost $100 a head over the market. Paid processing of just short of $100, and that's actually fairly reasonable. I don't know what what lockers are charging in your neighborhood, but around us it's $1.25 a pound for by hanging weight. So then he actually went through and weighed every cut, package by package, and kept track, and then pulled out the local Hy-Vee ad, and Hy-Vee is one of the large major chain grocers in our part of the world, and he compared that, his expenses, to what it would have been if he bought all that meat at Hy-Vee. And it was still $304 cheaper for him to have taken that critter to the locker. And of course, we're being told right now that the packers are losing money. And this really goes in the face of that, because he paid $100 more over the market for that critter. There's no credit for offal and hide or anything on that number. And so it was really probably more like $500 less expensive taking it to the locker. And then, yeah, besides the processing, at a local locker, they're not the low cost producer that way. So don't necessarily buy into the fact that the packers are losing money. But I would have predicted that press release was in the queue for about now, probably a year ago. They kind of have the same narrative that they run with. So, and here's another comparison that really points out that we've got to watch out for complacency. So, calves sold as fats this summer are bringing about $11 to $12 more a hundred slaughter price versus the summer of 2015. So we're really excited about having higher prices, right? It's 11-12% more. Who in here can buy whatever they want to buy today, and it only costs 11 or 12% more than in 2015? How about double that number? 22, 24%? No. Triple the number? Probably not. So that's where we have to be cautious. And I went back and compared calf sales on the video this year on the same strings of calves, 2015 to today. And the calves are bringing maybe 13, 14% more, a little bit more, but just slightly more than what they were bringing back in the early summer of 2015. So yes, the prices are better. We feel better about it, but this fight is not over. We're still not getting near enough value for what we should. So So stay vigilant, continue to help on the push, because we've got to keep up on the fight. And it's been fun this last year. We finally gotten a number of academic studies that really reinforce what we're talking about. And so this is really just a reminder of those studies. The multi-plant coordination study done at Iowa State has been a great one. Our friend Professor Carstensen at University of Wisconsin did a great paper. Our friend Dr. Bob Taylor, did the Harvested Cattle Slaughtered Markets, which is a great read. And then, of course, the big one that was done by our friends at Ohio State and Georgetown. So it's a big change. That for years we were needing those kinds of studies to really legitimize what we've been telling everybody about, and they're there. So that's great news. So again, at RCAF, we're fighting for the independent producer all the time. And we need to stay in this fight to help our industry and ultimately to save the country. I still think the American rancher is right in the middle of leading this country out of the abyss that they've somehow found themselves in. And then I just ask, why are you fighting? And I've got a fun picture, because this is why I'm fighting. So, thank you.